Hey, what is up? Just gonna be going over another VOD today. Here's the list on the screen. It's kind of like the de facto standard list now that I think most GP players are on, which was made by Skipass. Gonna be hopping over real quick into our game today against Green Zoro. So I win the dice. Oh, whoops. Win the dice roll and decide to go first. Let me up the speed real quick. And I see my starting hand of a stage DMG, Rush Luffy, and then two Nami Searchers, which I do end up mulliganing away. But on second thought, maybe I should have kept. The reason I mulliganed it away is because, like, yeah, we have two Searchers, but three of the cards in our hand are kind of dead, not gonna lie. Stage doesn't do, like, a whole ton in this matchup. And then the Rush Luffy is nice, but we don't need to see it immediately. And DMG is not as good because it's only counter for our leader and not our characters. And we really want to be countering out for our Sanji Puddings. But, there's an argument that on turn one, I just play the Nami so that it can contest the potential Hiyori coming down. And then on three, I just swing five and then I filter the stage out and play the Nami Searcher anyways. So, definitely probably should have kept this hand, but not entirely sure exactly. But yeah, I do end up mulliganing away into an even worse hand, where I see two stages, two Bagwas. The Bagwas are nice, but we really need to see our Sanji Puddings, and then a Zoro, which we're off curve, so it's not the best. And then our stage finds us another stage, which is super unfortunate. So our opponent double searches here and grabs two Toshigis off the search, and then I just filter out my stages here, draws me two 2Ks, and then swings five, and then we take the first one and then plays out the Zoro, which is fine. We don't have a Sanji Pudding, which is unfortunate for us, but we can play the Zoro. Here, I do end up grabbing the 2K, but I think grabbing the Luffy Taro here is correct. There's a good chance that we see like another playable character off of this Nami that we're going to be searching with next, and then we're going to 7, so we can Luffy Taro into something. Ideally a Sanji Pudding. If we miss, then that's like really unfortunate, but at least we still stick two bodies, because this Zoro is most likely going to be cleared out by one of the Toshigis he searched out next turn anyways. And then that means we just get to keep an 8K beater out for the rest of the game. Alongside like a 6K, which might get cleared by the Toshigi, but it gives us another way to search into a Sanji Pudding later if needed. So here we just end up grabbing the 2K. Here we missed the Nami or the Sanji Pudding again. So if we grabbed the Luffy Taro earlier, we could grab this other Zoro. But here I think I end up grabbing a Rush Luffy because I just need some sort of body to stick, which is fine. Ends up swinging 9, using the Toshigi, and then I have to counter out of the Zoro hit, and then the leader hit I take, and then I finally see a Sanji Pudding. So again, if I grabbed that Luffy Taro, I could have gone Luffy Taro into Sanji Pudding. The Sanji Pudding would have drawn me a card, and then we would have been like at even parity on the board essentially. So play the Sanji Pudding, leader ability, and then now I have to keep 2 Dawn up for this Bagua, so I can just jam. I think, yeah, at this stage of the game, I probably still want to go after life. And then, so I end up swinging 6-5. So we can at least burn like one card, even if they take the life. But our opponent decides to end up aggressively countering out, which is fine by us. They play this other Toshigi, and then thinks about it for a bit on what to swing. Holding 3 up for something, but instead decides to jam 11, which we Bagua, and then the 1K out. And then we have to counter out these little chip swings, unfortunately. And then swings 11, which we get a DMG. Here, because they're still so healthy, we can no longer afford to race them. Lucky for us, they defended pretty aggressively, so we can start trading into board here. So start with a 9 into the Toshigi, see if he lets it go, which our opponent does, which is really good for us, because if they end up saving both units somehow, I think we just die. But like we are so behind that we need to be a little lucky at this point anyways. So just swing 6 here into the Zoro, ends up defending it. Then I swing another 8. And our opponent ends up letting it go. I stage the Luffy in order to play around Luna. And then I have 3 up for Bagua Giant. Opponent plays the Mihawk. Takes some time to think, but decides to just jam 11. Here, I ended up gianting out and giving up this DMG, but I think I should have just Bagua 1K'd here. So here, I give up the 2K, and then here, I absolutely throw the game, because I thought I had enough counter, but I didn't. And then I just throw this Bagua here, and then I end up having to take the life anyways. And then, which, like, even if I had enough counter, here, I can Bagua either hit anyways. I guess I was, like, I shouldn't be afraid of any DMG shenanigans at this point anyways. So, I don't think there's any reason for me to giant there. And I think I should have just gone down to 0 anyways with what I had in hand. But now I'm forced to go down to 0. And then now I don't have a Bagua in hand anymore. So if I Bagua'd instead, I would have ended this turn with DMG, Giant, 2 Searchers, and a Event Searcher. So again, like here, there's like no way I can kill, so I have to like relieve pressure and just pray that I can survive. Event Searcher finds me a Giant. And then normally also, I forgot to mention, like, normally I would have never reviewed these games where I just, like, throw my brains out like this. But I think, in this case, I still had outs, even though it doesn't look like it. Because here, what I should have done after I grabbed the Gum Gum Giant off of this first Event Searcher, I end up playing a stage, try to cycle it out. But I think I should have kept the stage in hand. I need something to pitch for Gum Gum Giant anyways, and here I really want more control over what I draw. And then in the worst case scenario where like this doesn't find me event counters, then I can try and dig a little deeper with the Marigo. But like realistically, if these two don't hit some kind of event counter for me, then I'm probably dead anyways. So there's no point in me starting with this stage here. And then, yeah, it draws me into a 1K. And then I find 1 Giant off 1. And then here, I decide to grab the 2K instead of the DMG because my thought process is next turn, if he decides to jam 15 at the Rush Luffy, if this turns sideways, then I have no way to kill. So I need something to block. I know he can restand and swing 15 into leader anyways, but I need something to save this, essentially. So... because there's no way I can counter out for both the character and the leader at this point. So whatever character he swings into, I have to let die. So this is why this blocker is important here. So I swing 6, see if he free blocks, but he gives me 2 1Ks instead. And now I don't want him to free block the Rush Luffy, so I just swing 8 and he takes down to 3. I play the blocker. And in this position, I would have had, if I didn't play the stage, I would have had stage, Giant, and then Ford on here. So opponent does something pretty smart and just jams 8 first with the Mihawk. Because I cannot, even though it's like greater value, I'm trading a 2K for a 3K in this position if I block with the Sanji here. He can do the thing again I mentioned where he jams 15 at this Luffy. I have to let it die. And then in that scenario, I have no kill pressure. And then splitting with like 2 Namis, a Sanji Pudding, a blocker Sanji, or actually, I guess in that case, the blocker Sanji would die. So splitting with these 3 bodies, like, it makes no sense. So I have to giant this one. giant, I draw Bagua and a Sanji Pudding, which if I had one more floating Dawn, this is 14k counter, and then I just need to draw 2k off of the last giant, essentially. But here, now I have to pray for, like, something insane. Actually, no, I think even... I'd have to specifically draw into, like, a giant in this position. I do draw the two 1ks, so if I did leave one up for the Bagua, I could have gotten out of this hit and probably killed him in the on the crackback, because our opponent doesn't have that much counter. I could have gone like 7 with the Sanji Pudding. If he counters, then I go 5 with a Nami, and then he goes up to a 6k leader. I jam like another... I hit him for another 6 because our opponent decided not to swing 15 into one of the characters for whatever reason, which our opponent should have done like 100%, even though you're going for game, because you get a free swing at it anyways. And then on like the weird chance that like I do end up living here, it makes lethal a little bit harder for me. Yeah, but going back to like this turn where I just like absolutely throw the game for no reason, if I have like another Bagua in hand too, here, then with all these giants, like even without the blocker, there's a chance that I live here anyways. I would just float way more Dawn and not have to like search as hard, I think. So yeah, definitely a lot of like this game. I think when I was playing it, it felt unwinnable just because of like how I was drawing in the early game. I think the triple stage like just tilted me off the face of the planet. But like upon like reviewing this game again, I threw horrendously. Like there was not even just like pitching the Bagua for free. Even after pitching the Bagua for free and just throwing like that, I still had definitely like a lot of avenues to win. So definitely just there's like multiple points in this game where like I could have turned it around for sure. But I mean, that's why we review these games. But that's it for today. Definitely not need to just like clean up my gameplay before the regionals, but yeah, hopefully you know, doing this even just a little bit at a time will help me do so. But yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. See ya.